Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I'm Dr. Sudhanshu Joshi from Doon University, Dehradun. Today we are going to talk on module computer systems, hardware and software under the paper Management Information System. After completing this module, you should be able to understand the concept, definition and scope of computer hardware and software. You will also understand how computer system has evolved over the period of time and also how computer hardware and software are interlinked with each other and work as a system. We will also able to understand how hardware and software interlink to each other through different devices, through different languages, and how hardware and software are evolved over the period of time. Let us introduce with evolvement of personal computers. Today's personal computer is a much more powerful computer than the PCs of just 5 years or 10 years ago. Not to mention how different the PCs is from computers way back in the early days of its development. Remember that the whole of the computer's history is compacted into little more than 50 years, and the personal computer has only been around for a little over 20 years. In fact, PCs, most speculative development has probably been made in just past 5 to 10 years. It is also safe to say that computer of today will be nothing compared to what we have been in 5 to 10 years, 10 more years. The only bit of good news is that the PCs will most likely continue to have the same basic hardware component. 25 years ago, it was virtually unthinkable that computer would want to have a computer on their desk. Many of the big thinkers of the time could not even conceive of what anyone would possibly do with such a thing. It was a time of mainframe and mini computers which served the need of the corporation, companies, and departments. The idea that a single person could possibly have use for the computer all to themselves was just unthinkable. Mainframe computers. Until the dawn of the personal computer in the early 1980s, computers were large, multiple cabinet affairs that required spatial room conditions and trained operators and programmers. Mainframe computers, the larger of the computers, can literally fill a room. These large computers, sold by IBM, Amdel, Unisys, Hitachi, and others, are used to fulfill the computing needs of the large companies and corporations, and are also used in large telecommunication centers. They are very powerful with huge amount of storage and processing capabilities. The drawbacks to the mainframe computers for use as a personal computer are its size, its immense amount of computing power, and its price, which can run into millions of dollars. Before the personal computers, each mainframe user worked at a terminal, which is a device that combines a display monitor with a keyboard and is attached directly to the mainframe computers by a detachable cable. The terminal it terminates the connection line and allows the user to send large block of data, the content of the entire display screen actually to the mainframe computers for processing. And the results are displayed on the terminal's monitor. The early mainframe users did not have use a mouse and all the data was entered as text. Graphical user interface GUI such as Microsoft Windows or X Windows were yet to come. Today's mainframe user is more likely to be connected to the mainframe over a local network and to use a PC as a terminal device. Mini computers. The mini computers were developed to serve the computing needs of small companies and the large departments of corporations. The mini computers are also known as mid-range computer as
essentially the same functionality of the large mainframe computer but on the small scale and not much smaller at that. The mini computer were developed largely to open the new markets for computers after most of the large companies has purchased mainframe. The mainframe was scaled into a small package with most of its function remaining and a little less storage and processing power sold at a reduced price. There are computing devices today made by Hewlett-Packard, Compaq, and others that are manufactured under the name mini computers that are in fact mid-level computers that are more powerful than personal computers and less powerful than a mainframe. Because of advance in technology, today's mini computers can fulfill the entire computing needs of a small to medium sized company as well as serve as very powerful communication server. Mini computers are much too big in terms of processing power and size, not to mention price, to be used as personal computer. You may have heard of couple of other computers classification, the supercomputer and the embedded computers. A supercomputer is an extremely powerful computer used mostly in research and space, military and government application. A supercomputer, which can cost tens of millions of dollars, contains the equivalent of thousands of personal computers that share in processing load to solve very large and complex problems in hours or days instead of weeks, months, or years. A supercomputer is the largest and most powerful computer, sometimes equally the power of several mainframe combined. For example, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology is using a supercomputer to calculate the value of the mathematical value pi to cover a million decimal places so far. Although it is the stuff dream are made up of a supercomputer is way beyond consideration as a personal computer. It seems as if virtually all electronic devices has a computer built into them in some way. These were small and single-purpose processors are classified as embedded computers. An embedded computer is built into another device to control, monitor, or manage some activities for device. The controls of a microwave oven, the carburetor on your car, and the function of your electronic alarm clock. Even your wristwatch most likely all have at least once the probably more embedded computers. While it is true that personal computer also have an embedded computer in its microprocessor. The PC's processor is a multifunctional device capable of controlling more than a single process or activity.
There is some argument about what was actually the very first computer system was. Some says it was MIT Altair 8800. Some says it was Apple's innovation. It was many depend on the definition you use for just what person computer is and was. Altair 8800 was a kid computer that fast becomes the favorite hobbyist looking to get the computer all over all on their own. Ed Roberts and his company MIT's Modern Instrument Telemetry Systems developed this early person computer kit, which was named the Alter by his daughter after the planetary destinations on the TV show Star Trek. The software for the MITS was a basic programming language written by the fledgling company called Microsoft. However, like nearly all early personal computers, the Altair 8800 did not have off-the-shelf application software, and users had to write their software themselves using the basics language interpreter. While this was a challenge to those kid-read spirits looking to get into the computing craze, wasn't a problem. In 1978, after seeing the demonstration of the Altair 8800, two young computer enthusiasts, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, set out to build their own computer and develop a computer they named it later Apple I. Like its predecessor, the Apple I established a following that encouraged its young developers to continue. Apple II soon followed, like we mentioned in Figure Second, bolstered by which they have been in the first killer application, an earlier spreadsheet program called BusyCalc, and become a commercial success. It wasn't long before nearly every mainframe and mini computer manufacturer leaped out into personal computer market. IBM digital equipments and others soon have become their own PCs to the marketplace. IBM PC and its extended technology called XT and advanced technology AT versions soon become the standard for the computer using Intel microprocessors. While Apple computers continue to carve its own niche in the market. The IBM PC-80 and the Apple Macintosh represent commercially successful PCs that largely define the personal computer in terms of its size, shape, functions, a standard that has continued until today. This is the point at which we will begin looking at the technology of the PC and its hardware.
Let us discuss the evolution of personal computer over the period of time. Let us take 1961 as the turning point here up till 1998, so far and so forth. In year 1961, Fairchild Semiconductor releases the first commercially available internet circuit. 1963 was the time when Douglas Engelbart patented the mouse pointing device. 1970, Internet introduces 4004 microprocessor. 1971, IBM introduced the floppy disk. 1974, Intel releases the 8080 microprocessor. 1975, MIT's Alter 8800 sells in the kit form for $375. 1976, Steve and Steve Jobs built Apple I. 1977, Microsoft Corporation formed by partner Bill Gates and Paul Allen. Apple Computer produces Apple II. 1978, Intel produces 8086 microprocessor. 1979, VisiCalc, the first killer application is released. Intel produces the 8088 microprocessor. 1980, Apple third computer is introduced. 1980, the Radio Shack TRS-80 is introduced. 1981, IBM 5150 PC releases featuring PC-DOS, MS-DOS 1.0. 1982, Commodore 64 computer is introduced. 1982, Intel produces 80286 microprocessor. 1982, the compact portable PC is introduced. 1983, Lotus 123 applications released. IBM PC XT is released on the same year. MS-DOS 2.0 is released on the same year. 1984, Hewlett-Packard releases the LaserJet printer. 1984, Phoenix ROM BIOS is released. 1985, Intel releases 80386DX. 1985, Microsoft Windows 1.0 is released. 1985, PC CD-ROM devices are made available. 1986, the first 80386 PC is produced. 1987, Apple Macintosh computer is introduced. 1987, IBM introduced PS by 2 computers featuring OS by 2 and VGA graphics. 1988, Intel releases the 80386 SX microprocessor. 1988, Steve Jobs introduced Next computers. 1989, Intel announces 486 microprocessor. 1990, Microsoft Windows 3.0 is released. 1991, AMD releases the clone of 386 microprocessor. 1992, Intel releases 486DX2 microprocessor. 1992, Windows 3.1 is released. 1993, the Intel Pentium microprocessor is announced. 1994, Netscape Navigator browser is released. 1994, iOmega introduced zip drive. 1995, Pentium Pro microprocessor is introduced. 1998, Pentium second microprocessor is released. Let us have an overview of systems and components. First component, the monitor, which is also called the display, the visual display unit (VDU) or the screen. Second component, the keyboard. Third component, the system unit, which contains the motherboard, disk drives, expansion cards, and input-output ports. Fourth component, the mouse.
Input devices, computer process data from to generate information, stimulate an action or animation, and among other actions, replicate hand motions to draw an image. What each of these actions or processes has in common is that each requires some form of interaction with an operator. At least so far, operator is generally human, and the human needs to provide instructions, data, or other stimuli called inputs to the computer so it can do its thing. To facilitate this interaction, the computer must provide devices that computer operators can use to give its input. Reasonably enough, these devices are also called as input devices. However, in the past few years, it has been a dead heart between the keyboard and the mouse because virtually every computer sold has both devices. Newly hybrid devices now even combine the two, replacing the mouse with a touchpad built right into the keyboard. Output devices of any computers are linked to the senses of a human operator. If you haven't made this connection before, give it some thought. The computer must communicate with its operator through one of its senses, most likely sight and sound. The two human senses allow the operators to see and hear the outputs produced by the computer. The other human senses could be used, but at least so far the computer has not had made success with using the operator's senses of touch, taste, and smell. Systems that produce real-time smells can't be too far into the future, and there are already printers that can produce their output in for sight impaired users. Printer and displays. The human sense of sight is by far the sense most often used to view the computer's output. Text and graphics can be permanently placed on paper by a printer or viewed temporarily on the monitor. Some output of the computer, some of which may not have been seen like output, like the Windows desktop, do not need to be printed for the permanent reference, while the other need to be printed so they can viewed away from the computer and shared other users. Sound devices, the other common output from a personal computer is sound, whether it is as simple as deep codes produced through the system speakers when the computer is started off, or merely fertility sound produced from the CD-ROM or DVD. Digital systems and the sound are match made in the audio sound.
Let us understand terminology used in computer hardware and softwares. Motherboard. The motherboard is the main circuit board of the computer. It contains the central processing unit, CPU, and basic input-output systems, BIOS, memory, mask storage interfaces, serial and parallel ports, expansion slots, and all the controllers for standard peripheral devices like the keyboard, disk drive, and display screen. Chipsets. The chipset and the motherboard circuits are the smart of the motherboard. Their job is to direct traffic and control the flow of information inside the computer. The chipset is a critical part of the computer because it plays a big role in determining what sort of features the computer can support. Next definition is BIOS. BIOS stands for Basic Input Output Systems. It is the lowest level software in the computer. It acts as an interface between hardware, especially the chipsets and processors, and the operating system. The BIOS provides access to the system hardware and enables the creation of high-level operating systems that you use to run your application. The BIOS is also responsible for allowing user to control computer's hardware settings, for booting up the machine when user turn on the power or hit the reset button, and for various other system functions. ROM. ROM stands for read-only memory. ROM is non-volatile. ROM chips contains permanent written data called firmware. ROM contains the program that direct the computer to load the operating system and related files when the computer is powered off. ROM chips are usually recorded when they are manufactured. Next definition is PROM. PROM stands for Programmable Read-Only Memory Chips that cannot be changed to update or revise the program inside it. Next definition is of EPROM. EPROM stands for Erasable Programmable Read-Only Memory Data. The data can be erased and chip can be reused. It can be erased by shining high-intensive ultraviolet light through the window. Next definition is EEPROM. EEPROM stands for Electric Erasable Programmable Read-Only Memory. The memory under EEPROM can be erased using high voltage. Next definition is of FROM. Stands for Flash ROM. It is reprogrammable memory using normal voltage inside the PC. You can update the logic capabilities by simply downloading new software. This saves the expenses of replacing circuit boards and chip. Cache, pronounced as cache. Cache memory, it is a small, high-speed memory area that is placed between the processor and the system memory. The value of cache is that it is much faster than the normal system memory. The most frequently used instructions are kept in the cache memory so that CPU can look in there first and allows the CPU to run faster because it doesn't have to take time to swap instruction in and out of the main memory. Large, complex programs such as complex spreadsheet or database management program benefit the most from having a cache memory available. Pentium's second processor generally come with at least 512 KB of cache memory. Next definition is of random access memory, RAM. RAM is primary storage, also called as internal storage. It serves as computer workplace, sorting all or part of the program that is being executed, as well as data being used by the program. RAM provides instructions and data to the CPU. These instructions and data are coded in bytes. Each byte is placed in a precise location in memory called as address. To access data or instruction in memory, computer reference the address containing the bytes. The amount of memory available is therefore measured in bytes. DDR SDRAM is a straightforward evolution from SDR SDRAM. The big difference between DDR SDRAM and SDR SDRAM is that DDR reads data on both the rising and falling edges of the clock signal, so that DDR module can be transferred data twice as fast as SDR SDRAM. While DDR has a limited clock rate, the evolutionary change to DDR architecture enabled DDR2 to achieve speed beyond of DDR2, delivering bandwidth of 5.3 GB per second and beyond. Because DDR2 is able to operate with faster bus speeds, your memory doesn't hold back the performance of your processor. Generally speaking, motherboards are built to support only one type of memory. You cannot mix and match SD-RAM, DDR, or DDR-RAM 2 memory on the same motherboard in any system. They will not function and will not even fit in the same.
Why is RAM so important? Aside from the successor, Aside from the processor, the two most important factors affecting the PC's performance are RAM and hard disk capacity. Hard disks are typically huge, so the primarily limiting factors is the amount of stored RAM. Without enough RAM, the operating system must swap out storage space with the hard disk. The operating system creates a paging file called swap file to supplement RAM workplace, which is called virtual memory. Virtual memory is inherently slow. RAM speed can typically be 120,000 times faster than hard disk. So the lesser you must rely on the virtual memory, the swapping files between RAM and hard disk, the faster your system will.
Microprocessor. Microprocessor is the heart and brain of the PC, one electronic circuit in control of other. We have witnessed successive generation of processors, including 80286 followed by 80386 followed by 80486, which are 32-bit interface. We have also witnessed Pentium family P1, P2, P3, P4, 64-bit interface, and dual-core technology in recent trends is likely having two processor. A dual-core processor is a CPU with two separated cores residing on the same chip. If you see the architecture of the processing device CPU, it consists of mainly three supporting systems: control unit, ALU, register. The register, ALU, and control unit are interlinked through bus. Buses are acting as an intermediary medium between CPU, control unit, CPU's ALU, and register. It will also take information from the main memory. Software fundamentals. Let us understand the basics of software, how software works. Software consists of computer programs, which are sequences of instructions for the computer. The process of writing or coding program is called programming, and the individuals who perform this task are called programmers. Unlike the hardwired computer in 1950s, the modern software uses the stored program concept, in which stored software programs are accessed and their instructions are executed in the computer CPU. Once the programs had finished executing, a new program is loaded into main memory, and the computer hardware addresses another task. Computer programs, including documentation, which is written description of the functions of the program. Documentation helps the user operate the computer system and help other programmers understand what the program does and how it accomplishes its purpose. Documentation is vital to the business organization. Without it, if a key programmer or user leaves, the knowledge of how to use the program or how it is designed may be lost. The computer is able to do nothing until it is instructed by the software. Although computer hardware is by design general purpose, software enables the user to instruct the computer system to perform a specific function that provide business value. There are two major types of softwares: system software and application software. The relationship among hardware, system softwares, and application software are illustrated in Figure 2, where hardware comes at the core of the system. System software support hardware, and application software provides a platform and interface to the end users. System software. System software is a set of instructions that serves primarily as an intermediary between computer hardware and application programs, and may also be directed manipulated by knowledgeable users. System softwares provide important self-regulatory functions for computer systems, such as loading itself when the computer is turned on, managing hardware resources such as secondary storage for all applications, and providing commonly used set of instructions for all applications to use. Systems programming is either the creation or maintenance of system softwares. Application softwares. Application software is a set of computer instructions that provide more specific functionality to a user. That functionality may be broad, such as general word processing, or narrow, such as organization's payroll program. An application program applies to a computer to a certain need. Application programming. Let us also understand what application programming is all about. Application programming is either the creation or modification and improvement of application softwares. There are many different software applications in organizations today. In this module, we are going to discuss all those application programs. For a marketing application, for example, marketing intelligence software is being used. The system software available on computer systems provide the capabilities and limitation within the application softwares that operates on it. Computer softwares. The following presents an overview of various aspects and types of computer softwares. Computer disk operating systems, graphical user interface, utility software packages, local area network software packages. Computer operating system for microcomputers with Intel compatibility. There exist lot many of operating system including operating system DOS, disk operating system, Windows 3X, Windows 95, Windows 98, Windows 98 SE, Windows ME, Windows NT, 4 Workstation, Windows 2000 Professional, Windows XP, Linux or Apple operating system. Computer operating systems for server computers includes Unix and its variants such as Linux or Solaris, Windows NT Server, Windows 2000 Server, or Windows 2003 Server. Figure 3 illustrates common operating system tasks, including monitoring performance, correcting errors, providing and maintaining the user interface, starting or booting the system, reading programs into memory, managing memory allocation to the programs, placing files and programs in secondary storage, creating and maintaining directories, formatting diskettes, controlling the computer monitor, sending jobs to printer, maintaining security and limited access, locating files, detecting viruses, and compressing data. Let us discuss the properties of various available operating systems in the market. If you go to figure 4 illustrate the capabilities of various operating systems including Unix, Linux, DOS, Windows 3X, OS by 2, Windows 95, Windows 98, Windows NT, Windows 2000. Out of them, Linux or Unix is multi-user, Windows NT is multi-user, Windows NT is also multitasking, Unix is multitasking, Unix is long descriptive file names, it supported. Windows NT also supports long descriptive file names. Whereas DOS, Windows 3X, Windows 95, Windows 98 are limited in terms of their properties. Windows 95 and 98 support multitasking but doesn't support multi-users. They also support long-term descriptive file names. Whereas in the case of DOS and Windows 3X, it doesn't support multi-user, multitasking and long-term descriptive file names. Multitasking uses. Switching among programs, the ability to load several programs and easy and quickly switching among them is called multitasking. Running tasks in the background, for instance, downloading data, printing, monitoring disk space, and receiving electronic mail, comes under multitasking. Let us explore the definition and scope of system softwares. System software is the class of programs that control and support the computer systems and its information processing activity. System software also facilitates the programming, testing, debugging of computer systems. It is more general than application software and is usually independent of any specific types of application. System softwares support application software by directing the basic function of the computer. For example, when computer is turned on, the initiation program, a system program, prepares and reads all devices for processing. System software can be grouped into two major function programs or categories: system control programs and system support programs. System control programs controls the use of hardware, software, data resources of a computer system. The main system control program is operating system. The operating system supervises the overall operation of the computer, including monitoring the computer's status and scheduled operations, which includes the input-output processes. In addition, the operating system allocates CPU time and main memory to programs running on the computer, and it also provides an interface between the user and the hardware. This interface hides the complexity of the hardware from the user. That is, you do not have to know how the hardware actually operates, just what hardware will do and what you will need to do obtain desired results. Especially, the operating system provides services that includes process management, virtual memory, file management, security, fault tolerance, and user interface. Whereas process management means management of programs which are also called jobs running on the processors at a given time. In the simplest case, a desktop operating system, the operating system loads a program into main memory and executes it. The program utilizes the computer's resources until it relinquishes control. Some operating systems offer more sophisticated forms of process management such as multitasking, multithreading, and multiprocessing. The management of two or more tasks or programs running on computer system at the same time is called multitasking or multiprogramming. The first program is executed until interruption occurs, such as request for input. While the input request is handled, the execution of a second program begins. Because switching among these programs occurs so rapidly, they appears to be executed at the same time. However, because there is only one processor, only one program is actually in execution mode at any one time. Multithreading, in other case, is a form of multitasking that focused on running multiple tasks within a single application simultaneously. For example, word processor application may edit one document while another document is being spell checked. So let us also understand the functionality and scope of mobile device operating system. These operating systems are designed for a variety of devices such as handheld computers, set-top boxes, sub-node PCs, mobile telephones, factory floor equipments. The mobile device operating system market includes embedded Linux, Microsoft Windows CE, Pocket PC, Windows Embedded NT 4.0, Palm operating system from Palm. Here's some information about mobile device operating system. Embedded Linux is a compact form of Linux used in mobile device. Both IBM and Motorola are developed embedded Linux for mobile devices. Windows CE, a 32-bit operating system, is Microsoft Information Application Operating System. Windows CE includes a scaled-down version known as Pocket version of Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Internet Explorer. Pocket PC is a version of Windows CE 3.0, specifically designed for personal digit assistants and handheld computers. Windows Embedded NT 4.0, a 32-bit operating system, is aimed at embedded devices that require more operating system capabilities and flexibility than Windows CE can offer. Whereas Palm operating system was devised by Palm for its Palm Pilot handheld pen input PDA person digital assistant. Palm operating system includes a graphical user interface, and user must learn a stylized alphabet called GraphT to make the device remain receiving handwritten inputs. Desktop and notebook computer operating system. The Windows family is the leading series of desktop operating systems. The Microsoft DOS, Microsoft Disk Operating System, was one of the original operating systems for IBM PC and its clones. This 16-bit operating system with its text-based interface has now been almost totally replaced by GUI operating systems such as Windows 2000 and Windows XP. Windows 1.0 through Windows 3.1 successive versions were not operating systems but were operating environments that provide the GUI that operates with and extended the capabilities of Microsoft DOS. Application softwares. As earlier defined, application software consisting of instructions that direct a computer system to perform specific information processing activities and that provide functionality for users. because there are so many different uses of computers. There are a corresponding large number of different application software programs available. A controversial set of system application programs could include surveillance, data editors, etc. Types of application softwares. Application software includes proprietary application software and off-the-shelf application softwares. Proprietary application software addresses a specific or unique business needs for a company. This type of softwares may be developed in-house by organizations' information system personnel, or it may be commissioned from software vendors. Such specific software programs developed for a particular company by a vendor are also called as contract software. Alternatively, off-the-shelf application softwares can be purchased, leased, or rented from a vendor that develops programs and sell them to many organizations. Off-the-shelf softwares may be a standard package or may be customizable. Special purpose programs or packages can be tailored for a specific purpose, such as inventory control or payroll. The word package is a commonly used term for computer software programs or group of programs that has been developed by a vendor and is available for purchase in a prepaid form. Types of personal application software: general purpose, off-the-shelf application software programs that support journal type of processing rather than being linked to any specific business function. They are referred as personal application softwares. This type of software consists of widely used packages including spreadsheet, data management, word processing, desktop publishing, graphics, multimedia, communication, speech recognition softwares, and groupwares. Software suites combine some of these packages and integrate their functions. Personal application software is designed to help individual users increase their productivity.
So, students, let's now summarize what we have learned in this module. We discussed about the broad understanding of computer systems, interlinkage between computer hardware and softwares, and also we understood future trends in the domain of computer hardware.